will be a presentation of the flexible spending account plan for the IndyPERS Flex Comp, specifically related to the upcoming 2026 calendar year. So what are FSAs? FSAs are a year-to-year account where you set aside pre-tax dollars to pay for current year expected expenses, so those expenses that you know you'll have during the year. And you may enroll in any health insurance plan. You do not have to be enrolled in the IndyPERS insurance plans. You could be enrolled in a spouse plan or no insurance at all. There are two different accounts available for you. The healthcare FSA is an account that can be used for expenses such as deductibles, office copays, office visits, general medical, dental, and vision expenses such as crowns, bridges, LASIK eye surgery, labs, x-rays, and even mileage to and from your day healthcare providers. And then the second option available to you is the dependent care FSA, which can be used for expenses like daycare, before and after school care, preschool, nursery school, and general babysitting expenses. So what's in it for you? FSAs essentially kind of give you a pay raise, so don't lose out. You will pay less in taxes at the end of the year, so the extra money is kind of like a raise. Using this example, let's say you enroll in $4,000 for the child care and $2,000 for the healthcare FSA on an annual income of $50,000. That totals a pre-tax FSA contribution of $6,000, which would reduce your taxable income to $44,000. With an estimated tax rate of 30%, that's going to save you about $1,800 for the year for taxes. Some things you need to know. You do have to enroll every year with a new election, even if you want to keep the same election for the next year. And you must spend all funds during the year, as it is a use it or lose it account. The expenses must be incurred during your period of coverage or during the plan year. And again, you do not have to be covered under the employer health insurance. You can have other insurance options through a spouse or no insurance at all. And you'll use these accounts to pay for expenses for your spouse and or dependent children, specifically the healthcare FSA. As a reminder, the elections you make do remain in effect for the entire plan year unless you experience a qualified status change. If you're not sure what qualifies, feel free to reach out to ASI Flex or your Human Resources Department for more information. On the healthcare side, you can access those funds at any time. It is a front-loaded account, so the full election you make for the year will be available January 1, but any funds remaining at the end of the year are forfeited back to the plan, so be sure to plan accordingly. The IndyPERS Flex Comp plan does allow a grace period for both healthcare and dependent care FSA, meaning there's an extra 2.5 months tacked on to the end of your plan year through March 15th that allows you to continue incurring expenses. So how do we avoid forfeitures, or how can you avoid forfeitures? It's actually pretty easy. What you would need to do is plan for those more predictable and recurring expenses. Things like your prescriptions, or if you have a surgery that you've scheduled with a provider, or if you have dental work that you need done. Maybe you have a kiddo that needs glasses or braces. You can also review your prior year expenses as a guide, but you want to always be conservative with your estimate for the year when you're enrolling. Just make sure you're keeping track of expenses that you know you will have during the year. We do have some cool tools available on our website, asiflex.com. We do have an expense estimator that's super handy. We also have an eligible expense listing, as well as access to FSAstore.com. They also have an eligible expense listing available on their website, and it's a good resource for over-the-counter products as well. And again, another way to avoid forfeitures is just to remember that you do have an additional 2.5 months with that grace period. Going into more detail regarding the healthcare FSA, the plan year maximum for the year will be $3,300, and that's an annual maximum, and then that amount will be divided over your paychecks during the year. Some expenses that you can use the healthcare FSA for would be those prescription and office visit copays, deductible expenses that you pay out of pocket normally, x-rays, lab expenses, hospital bills, mileage to and from your healthcare providers as well. Over-the-counter items, things like Band-Aids, sunscreen, menstrual care products, blood pressure monitors, thermometers, any pill holders or pill splitters, diabetic supplies like Lancets, glucose meters, things like that. And then lots of other over-the-counter drugs and medicines like pain relievers, cold and allergy medication, flu medication, lots of over-the-counter drugs. On the vision side, you can use it for general vision exams, prescription glasses and sunglasses, reading glasses, LASIK eye surgery, contact lenses, contact solutions. You can also use it for dental expenses, such as your dental exams, any x-ray expenses, orthodontia, crowns, bridges. It can also be used for dentures and adhesives, occlusal guards or bite guards, and also implants. And then you can also use the healthcare FSA for hearing exams, hearing aids, and hearing aid batteries. This slide here shows a list of lots of over-the-counter products that are eligible. It is not an extensive list. There are other items that are available, but most of these items on the drug and medicine side of the list, those are no longer, they're eligible, but a prescription is no longer required for reimbursement for those. Again, I mentioned earlier, your healthcare FSA funds are available at any time during the year. So if you file a claim for $500 with a $1,200 enrollment, even though your year-to-date contributions at the time of a claim may be only $300, we will still pay the full $500 claim. This is a sample planning worksheet that kind of outlines what it might look like or how much you might want to enroll for. So with 2 monthly prescription copays at $30 each, that comes to $720 per year. 2 office visit copays at $50 each, that's $100 for the year. And some various dental and vision expenses comes to about $2,533. So if that's approximately what you expect to spend during the year, that would be the figure that you would want to use for your annual election. Again, that mileage rate to and from your healthcare providers, that mileage rate is currently 21 cents per mile. Moving on to dependent care, the annual maximum did go up. The IRS did announce an increase to the annual household max of $7,500. That maximum is $3,750 per household if you and your spouse are married, but you file separate income tax returns, so please keep that in mind. Some expenses that are eligible under the dependent care FSA would be general babysitting while you and your spouse are at work or actively looking for work. So that would also include just a babysitter that you have that comes to your home to watch your child or children. The dependent care FSA can also be used for preschool or nursery school for young children, before and after school care for those school-age kids. Also, day camps are eligible. Please keep in mind, though, camps that are for sports-related activities or other extracurriculars like dance camps, things like that, as long as the primary reason for the camp is for the care and well-being of your child, those are eligible. But if it's more instructional in nature, those would not be considered eligible day camps. But the dependent care FSA can be used for general child care for any children under the age of 13, or can also be used for children over the age of 13 or for an adult that is not capable of self-care. So another way to use those funds as well. One key difference between the healthcare and the dependent care FSA is that the dependent care is a cash balance account, meaning it can only pay you or reimburse you up to the amount of contributions that have been posted to your account at the time you file a claim. So looking at this example here, if you enroll for $300 per month for a total of $3,600 for the year, let's say you incur a child care expense on January 31st and you file a claim for $500. But at that time, your contribution total is only $300. At that time that you file that claim, the plan is only going to pay you $300, but when your next contribution posts, we will pay you the remaining $200 automatically once that contribution is posted to your account. So here is a sample planning worksheet for the dependent care FSA. It's super helpful to use we do have a worksheet that's available, or the expense estimator, especially for childcare, since during the summer your childcare needs may change, or during the school year childcare needs may change. So this kind of breaks down monthly expenses for childcare. I understand, I don't have children myself, but I understand this may not be extremely realistic. I know childcare is not cheap, but if you break it down by month, you know what your monthly expenses are going to be. That will give you a good idea of what annual election to select for the year. Moving on to claim filing. So we do have multiple claim filing options, and I'll go over those in more detail in the next few slides. So the first option for filing claims is our ASI Flex mobile app. This is a free service available to you on your smartphone or tablet. just download from your Apple Store or Google Play Store. There is a video tutorial available on our website if you're interested in that. But the nice thing about the mobile app is it allows you to snap a picture of any documentation for claim or debit card documentation, and you can upload it right there from the pharmacy or the doctor's office. The mobile app also allows you to check your balance 24/7 or just check the status of your account at any time. And new this year in 2025, we did update our mobile app to include a over-the-counter barcode scanner. So how that works is you just pick up an item that has a UPC barcode on it, and you can scan it with that mobile app feature, and the app will let you know if that item is FSA eligible or not. If you are already an app user, if you haven't downloaded the most recent version, or if you don't have access to the mobile app barcode scanner, you'll just need to make sure you download the most recent version. If you are not currently using the app, once you download it, the barcode scanner should already be available for you to use. Similar to the mobile app, we also have your ASI Flex online account. You do have to establish this online account before you can log into the mobile app. The credentials are exactly the same, and it essentially gives you access to the same information, but you do need to create an online account before you can use the mobile app. From the account details system, you can access the same information. It gives you access to your balance 24/7 as long as you have access to a PC. You can also submit claims securely, view previously submitted claims. You can also view secure messages that were sent to you from ASI Flex, upload debit card documentation, file claims, all kinds of stuff. If you ever have issues getting logged in, or you forgot your username or password, or your security image or security questions and answers, feel free to reach out to customer service and they can assist you with that. The most common way to use your healthcare FSA funds is the ASI Flex debit card. This is just a point of sale card, just like you would use your personal debit or credit card. But we do ask that you ask for an itemized statement at the time the service or supply is provided to you. That way, if ASI Flex does ask you for documentation, you are ready and have that available to upload. Please remember that use of the card is not always paperless. We do monitor the card based on IRS regulations, so some transactions will require backup documentation. How do we notify you if documentation is needed? We will send up to 3 requests, and those requests are sent based on your account preferences. We do prefer that you set up email and/or text alerts to avoid delay of paper mail. But the first initial notice is sent to you approximately 5 to 7 days after the transaction has settled on your account. A second reminder notice is sent 21 days later if for some reason you haven't had a chance or you haven't been able to upload the documentation. And then the third and final notice is sent another 21 days after that. And at that point, when that third and final notice is sent, your card will temporarily be deactivated until we receive that documentation. That is an IRS requirement that the card be temporarily deactivated, but once you provide the documentation, cards are usually activated within 1 to 2 business days, assuming the documentation has everything we need. If for some reason you have lost your documentation or you just can't find it or don't have access to it, you can write a check or money order back to the plan. We also have an ACH repayment option available through your online account now. What that does is it just adds the funds available back to your account as an available balance. You can also submit a substitute claim for that charge if you're not able to find the documentation or don't have access to it. If you choose that route, you do need to make sure that the claim or the expense that you are using as substitute for the debit card transaction is an expense that was incurred in the same plan year you used the card, and it cannot be something that you've already used the ASI Flex debit card to pay for. How do you submit documentation? You can do that through the mobile app or through your online account. We also do still accept fax or mailed submissions if you prefer that route. Some ways that we clear documentation or clear transactions without the need for documentation would be through the use of copay matching. We do receive your copay information from IndyPERS, and we load that information to your account. So when you swipe your card for a copay and it matches exactly, those transactions should clear automatically without the need for documentation. If for some reason you swipe your card for a copay and it does not clear automatically, please reach out to customer service so we can look into that. There may be an issue with having the wrong copays loaded for you or no copays at all. depending on timing. Another way we clear transactions is through recurring charges, such as orthodontia or chiropractic care, things that are typically the same exact amount each month to the same provider. How that works is we may ask you for documentation for the very first transaction, and then as long as each transaction after matches the exact amount to the exact same provider, you shouldn't be required to submit documentation. Please note that it does have to match to the penny. So if it's $56.07 the first time, it would need to be $56.07 every time after that in order for it to clear automatically. The third way we clear transactions without documentation is transactions at certified merchants such as Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, local drugstores, people that sell, or vendors that sell over-the-counter products. They do maintain an inventory system, but it is 100% up to that provider to list these items as FSA eligible in their system. If for some reason the item doesn't work when or your card doesn't work when you try to purchase an over-the-counter item, feel free to pay for that out of pocket and then submit a claim for reimbursement. Any other copay transactions or any other transactions that do not fall into either of the other two categories, copays for insurance plans that are not IndyPERS related, those will require documentation, so please keep that in mind. Moving on to the FSA Store Cardless Pay, this is an available feature for your healthcare FSA participants. This is available through your online account, so when you log in at asiflex.com, you'll click on the FSA Store link to shop. You'll then select the products that you want to purchase and add them to your cart and then proceed to checkout. And from the checkout screen, you will choose the ASI Flex payment option. And what happens from there is the FSAstore.com website will pull the amount due for your transaction from your FSA balance, which prevents the need for you to enter sensitive credit card or debit card information. Recurring direct pay is a service available to those participating in the child care or dependent care FSA. This is also available from your online account. You'll log in at asiflex.com, and under the Participant Services tab, you'll click on the Schedule a Recurring Direct Payment button that's available there. You'll then select the plan year that you want to apply it to, then choose dependent care as the provider type. From there, you'll select your provider from the drop-down menu and then set up the frequency and the amount that you wish to authorize for direct payment from your FSA to your daycare provider. Once you choose all of that information, you'll click Submit, and then ASI Flex will reach out to the provider for approval of the schedule that you've set, as well as the amount. If for some reason from the drop-down menu you do not see your provider's information, you should be able to click a button that says Recruit Provider, and you can search for your provider, and ASI Flex will reach out to them from there as well. Another option for dependent care users is automatic reimbursement of dependent care expenses. This is essentially just where you only have to file one claim. You'll complete the claim at the beginning of the year, have your daycare provider sign off on the claim form to certify the cost of the services they're providing, and then submit that form to ASI Flex. You do still need to report any changes as needed. So if your child care situation changes mid-year, you'll need to make sure you submit a new form. Once the form has been reviewed and processed by ASI Flex, we will automatically issue reimbursements based on the claim form that was sent in as your contributions are posted to your account. For all claim and debit card documentation, we do require the same information. There are 5 pieces of information we look for. We need to know who the service or supply was provided for. So if that's you, if that's your spouse, if that's a child. We also need a brief description of the service or supply that was provided. So that could be something as simple as copay, lab work, x-rays, whatever, just a brief description of what is being provided. We also need the name and address of the provider. So if that's your ABC doctor or ABC pharmacy, or if it's Walmart, if you're purchasing over-the-counter items, that works. And then we also need to know when the service was provided. So we are not looking at when you were paid or when you were billed. We are looking specifically for the date of service. When it comes to prescriptions or over-the-counter items, the date the prescription was filled or the date the items were purchased is sufficient. And then obviously the dollar amount you owe or how much was charged for the service or supply provided. If it is the service or expense covered under insurance, your insurance payer explanation of benefits is the best form of documentation, but you can also provide an itemized statement. If the service was not covered by insurance, an itemized statement would be sufficient. For prescriptions, the pharmacy receipt or a printout from the pharmacy is okay, or an itemized mail order receipt if you use mail order pharmacy services. And then for over-the-counter products, an itemized merchant receipt from the merchant where you purchase the items is okay. We cannot accept credit card receipts, paid on account or balance forward statements, canceled checks, or pre-treatment estimates. Pre-treatment estimates applies to dental expenses that you are getting estimates for, maybe a surgery. We cannot use the pre-treatment estimate because it does not include the date of service when it was actually provided. We do encourage you to go green, so you can sign up for email and or text alerts. This helps to avoid paper mail and obviously delayed mail. We also encourage you to sign up for reimbursements via direct deposit to your bank account. This also avoids delayed mail and the use of paper checks. It also avoids you a trip to the bank. Another way to go green is by utilizing that mobile app or your online account to submit claims. It's super easy and helps just expedite the process of you receiving your reimbursements for those claims. For dependent care providers specifically, we do encourage the use of the new recurring direct pay feature. Honestly, it just kind of cuts you out as the middleman since we're paying your daycare provider directly from your FSA. You don't have to wait for reimbursement to then issue payment on your own. Some additional resources available to you from your FSA account detail. You can review messages sent to you from ASI Flex. You can also manage your personal settings such as email address, direct deposit. You can also submit claims, schedule recurring direct payments for dependent care, and you can also shop at the FSA store website. From our main website, asiflex.com, we do have additional information available on the debit card. We also have an extensive eligible or ineligible expense listing. You can also access the FSA store website from our main site. They also have an eligible expense listing available, and then you can also use it as a resource for those over-the-counter FSA products. We also have access to some frequently asked questions as well as the expense estimator and tax savings calculator. And there are also links to several educational videos as well as the IRS forms and publications if you are interested in that information. Some important dates to remember. The plan year will run on a calendar year basis, January 1 through December 31, 2026. Open enrollment started Monday this week and will run through November 7th, 2025. You must incur all claims, healthcare or dependent care claims, January 1, 2026 through that grace period, March 15th, 2027. And all claims, regardless of what plan you're submitting for, must be submitted April 30th, 2027. We do encourage you, please do not wait until the last minute. You may miss the date, you may miss the time. All claims must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. Central Time by April 30th, 2027. Last but certainly not least, all of our customer service information is available here on this slide, our website and customer service email as well as customer service phone number. Please remember that we cannot accept emailed claim submissions through this customer service email. That is for your security. So if you need to submit a claim, please feel free to use one of our online options, a mobile app, fax, or mail. Our customer service mailing address is available here if you need to mail something to us, and then our customer service hours are listed here as well.